Before we get into this video, we have a new project we want to tell you about. It's been years in the making, conceived while we were through hiking the Appalachian Trail.
If you're watching this video, you probably enjoy real-life adventure stories, reading them, following them, maybe even writing your own.
The project is called Outsideways. Outsideways is an adventure journaling platform for outdoor enthusiasts to share their adventures with family, friends, and the world. So whether you are into hiking or backpacking, canoeing,
Skiing, snowboarding,
cycling, pack rafting, whether you are out for the afternoon, the day, or the weekend,
or maybe you're out for a week or months-long adventure,
Outsideways is the place to share the stories
and share your pictures
of your adventures. Today, we are going to reach somewhat of a milestone in our journey. Celine, what can you tell us about that?
Well, this morning or today, I'm not sure when we're going to.
It'll be by the end of the day.
Well, there's not this morning. But we are going to see the Fontana Dam. I'm not sure if we're gonna go over it, because I'm not sure which side the shelter we're staying at is on. But
we will eventually go over it.
We will eventually go over it, and that'll be cool.
And so what's cool, what's interesting about this dam?
Well, it is the biggest dam in the eastern United States, or east of the Mississippi, or whatever you choose to call it.
Cool. And it's supposed to be quite a big shelter there too. What do they call it?
The Fontana Shelter? I don't know.
I think it's called the Hilton.
Oh. I don't know what it's called.
And then what else is kind of cool about this is what comes right after Fontana Dam that we're kind of excited about.
The Smoky Mountains.
The Smoky Mountains. And
I've never been there before.
we hear lots of things about the Smokies, some good, some not so good.
Whoops!
And we're just either way excited to see what the Smokies are all about. And feels like we're actually getting somewhere.
Maybe we'll even see a bear.
Maybe we'll even see a bear.
That's what they're notorious for, after all. Bears.
Cool. So,
And tourists.
and tourists, exactly.
Those notorious tourists.
Here we are, coming into Fontana Dam. There's the dam and the lake, and we are descending the trail down to the dam. This is Fontana Lake. We are just coming into the shelter here fairly soon at the Fontana Dam, and crossing the dam. I'm not sure if we cross the dam tomorrow, maybe. This is the lake. Saturday morning, and we spent the night at the Fontana Dam Hilton shelter, and we are now in the process of crossing the dam, going into the Smokies.
Pretty full. Looks like they haven't emptied this for a while. Here we go.
So here we are today, out hiking with the James family and another thru-hiking family we've met up with on the trail. We heard about them before we went out, and we finally got to meet them in person.
Yeah, you guys caught us.
And it's a beautiful day.
This is a plane wreckage site on the side of the mountain, and they left the wreckage here from, I think I heard someone say it's from the 1960s.
I think it's the door. And a caution sign.
Well, it could be.
Just against.
It could be a wing part.
Yeah. Oh, good.
It could be one of those flaps.
In the Smoky Mountains, the shelters in the Smokies used to have cages on the front of them. Most of the shelters, they've eliminated the cages. That was to prevent, or I guess to protect the people in the shelters from bears. It had the unintended side effect, I hear, of hikers feeding the bears through the cages and then hence getting trapped inside the shelters because the bears wouldn't leave. Anyways, I don't know how much truth there is to that story, but it's one we've heard. The shelter we stayed in last night was the only shelter, to my understanding, to still have the cage on the front. And so last night we were in bed and we closed the gate to the cage and locked it, and in the middle of the night around, I think it was 12:30 or so, I had to go to the bathroom, and so I proceeded to open the door, shine my headlamp out as I usually do. Lo and behold, there were a pair of eyes glowing back at me, maybe 50 feet in front of the shelter, and I was able to discern that it was a bear. And shortly thereafter, two more pairs of eyes a little bit further on also looked up and started glowing at me. And so in that particular area, at that time of day, there was 3 bears outside the shelter, minding their own business pretty much, but I decided to hold off on my bathroom break for a little while. And later on that night, couldn't hold it any longer and somebody else had to go, and so we gave it another shot and it appeared that the bears had left. So that's our little bear story. The only bear encounter we've had so far, and it was pretty benign but interesting nonetheless.
The Smokies, we weren't sure what to expect. A lot of people that are from here or around here, or people that we've met online, were telling us how beautiful the Smokies were and how much we would love hiking there. And that was definitely true. We thought the Smokies were very pretty, and the hiking, the trails were very lovely. It was really nice hiking in the Smokies. Some of it was difficult, but it was a very beautiful trail. The thing that thru-hikers specifically do not like about the Smokies is that you are required to stay at shelter sites. Not only that, you must sleep in the shelter if there is space in the shelter, and if there's not, then you can pitch a tent. Now, thru-hikers generally, well, a lot of us are out here because we don't like having people tell us what to do. We like having freedom to set up our camp wherever we find a good spot. And there's a lot of designated campsites throughout the rest of the trail that are really lovely to set up your tent at. But in the Smokies, they make you sleep in the shelters, and no one's happy about that. The shelters are spaced about like 6 miles, so they're about 6 miles apart approximately. I mean, give or take. Some are 5 miles apart, some are 7, but that's a really short day. And so in order to get through the Smokies, even in the time that your permit allows, I believe the permit is a 7-day permit, in order to get through them, you have to be logging about 12 to 15 miles a day, and you have to get to the specific shelter. You can't just pitch camp anywhere. You have to either do the short 5 miles, or you have to do maybe a longer 14 miles, which could really tire you out, which in our case, a couple days it really did. We were happy to push our mileage though. It was a good experience, but the whole being confined to the shelters wasn't really pleasant for anyone. Having said that,
everybody at the shelters was really great. We're all in the same boat, so we learned just to make the best of it. And there was a lot of great people on the trail, and so that was our experience in the Smokies. We had 5 nights there, 6 hiking days. It was approximately 60 miles of hiking. The terrain is beautiful. Some of the views are very pretty also, and different, you know, some really cold nights, kind of cold weather because you're up really high. Very beautiful, but being required to stay at the shelters is I would say the downside of being in the Smokies. And for that reason, all the thru-hikers, when you leave the Smokies, everybody's really happy to leave. It's kind of sad because it's a really beautiful park. When you come out of the Smokies, you come out by this place called Davenport Gap, and there is a major interstate that you have to cross, but thankfully there's an underpass you go under. It's I-40, and it's a fairly major road. So you come out of the Smokies, which is this very wild natural environment, and you cross this very busy road, and about maybe a mile after that, you keep going on the AT, and then on this little dirt road off of the Appalachian Trail is a place called Standing Bear Farm. I'm not sure where it gets the farm. There's a couple chickens and some dogs, but maybe that's where it gets the farm from. But what it is it's like a hiker hostel and little store. It's a place you can send boxes to, so you can do your resupplies. It was like stepping into another world. All the buildings are old cabin type buildings. There's rooms you can rent, like a hiker hostel, so if you want to stay overnight. There's this cute little kitchen building where it has dishes and a sink for washing and some hot plates and a microwave and a table and books and games. There's a place where you can do laundry, and it's a hand washer. You wash by hand, but then there's a dryer. There's a store, and it is the cutest little store. They stock everything that hikers need for like short-term resupply. So snack foods, and of course you can get frozen pizzas that you can just heat up there. But we actually did a little bit of a resupply of just a day's worth of snack foods because we did a miscalculation in our number of days we'd be hiking on our last resupply. We got the number of suppers right, but we knew we'd be out 5 nights, but it was going to be 6 days and 5 nights, not 5 days, 5 nights. See, we're going to be here tonight.
Yeah.
So that's the
So
third
that's
night.
basically 1, 2, 3 more full days of hiking.
We always knew there was going to be like...
5 days of hiking.
No, it's 5 nights.
I know, I never think in terms of nights. I always think in terms of days.
But we started at, what day was that? That was coming out of Klingman's? It was going to be a long stretch. It was like 5.5.
Yep.
Yep, what?
No, thinking in terms of nights, I think it's the wrong terminology. Because when you're thinking about food, you have to think about 24-hour period.
So what am I going to tell you in the future? You want me to tell you how many full days we're hiking and then how many nights?
I don't care about nights.
Okay, well, we're probably hiking 6 full days. But we come into Hot Springs the last day after 11 miles. And so we don't need to, have supper that day.
Yeah.
On the trail.
Because in terms of food, right, you actually eat all day.
I know that.
And so that's how many days you actually need to think about. That's what you need to think about when you're thinking about supplying food. Is the amount of 24-hour periods or days that you're hiking.
Okay, well, I guess it's a good thing that Standing Bear is accessible because we're going to have to go in and get some...
I thought my trail mix was kind of low.
So we were very thankful to be able to stop at Standing Bear Farm and get a few more snack foods, especially the kids, because they love having access to all those snack things and the sodas and the candy bars and the things that we let them have while out on the trail. And it's just the cutest, quaintest little place. It's like a different world, and it was very fun to experience, even if just for a short, brief, intense period.